Imagine looking forward to retirement. You're picturing how Social Security fits in, putting the pieces together.
Yeah, planning it all out.
Exactly. And then you learn that these claiming strategies you heard about maybe years ago, perhaps from a friend, or read in an article.
Or even a financial planner mentioned them once.
Right. And they're just not available anymore. Strategies that, well, could have meant thousands of extra dollars over your lifetime.
It can feel like the goalposts moved. Definitely. Just when you thought you understood the game.
It really can. So today we're diving deep into exactly that situation. We've gathered a stack of sources, articles, research papers, even real questions from people wrestling with this stuff right now.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, to get to the truth about two specific Social Security claiming strategies.
Yeah.
File and suspend and restricted application.
Names you might have heard thrown around.
Definitely. Our mission today: break down what they were, why they actually worked back then, what happened to them. That was back in 2015.
2015, yeah. The Bipartisan Budget Act.
And most importantly, what the reality is now. What it means for you trying to navigate your own retirement planning today.
That's right. Because these weren't, some obscure little tricks. They became pretty well-known tools, especially in financial planning circles.
For married couples, mainly.
Yeah, primarily for married couples looking to sort of optimize their total benefits. But, laws change. And understanding the specific reasons why these options were shut down, that's really key.
Key to avoiding mistakes, I imagine. Costly ones.
Absolutely. And making informed decisions based on today's rules, not yesterday's. So we're going to walk you through the landscape before the changes.
Set the scene.
Exactly. Then explain precisely how that 2015 law altered the rules. And then crucially focus on what's still possible today.
And what isn't.
And what isn't. For people claiming now.
Okay, let's unpack this. To really get why these strategies were so popular, we need to lay the groundwork first, right? How Social Security, retirement, and spousal benefits worked. And still work, mostly.
Absolutely, the foundation. So at its core, your Social Security retirement benefit, that's based on your earnings history.
Yeah.
Your highest 35 years.
Right.
And the main decision point for most people is simply when you choose to start taking that benefit. You've got a window.
A window that opens pretty early.
As early as age 62, generally.
Yeah.
And it stretches potentially all the way out to age 70.
And that timing decision, it has a huge impact, doesn't it? A permanent one.
Oh, massive. Truly significant and, permanent. The key age here is your full retirement age, FRA.
FRA.
That's the age when you're eligible for 100% of the benefit that's calculated from your work record. Now, this age, it varies.
It's not the same for everyone.
Nope. Depends on when you were born. If you were born between 1943 and 1954, your FRA was 66.
Okay.
If you were born in 1955, it's 66 in 2 months. It kind of creeps up.
Gradually increasing.
Exactly. Until it hits age 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later. So someone born in, say, 1959, their FRA is 66 in 10 months. But 1960 or later, it's 67.
Got it. And claiming before that FRA date means less money.
Permanently less money each month, yes. If you claim as early as you possibly can at 62, well, for someone whose FRA is 67, that means about a 30% reduction.
30%? Wow.
Yeah, it's a big haircut. Now, the reduction is smaller if you claim later, say 64 or 65, somewhere between 62 and your FRA. But it's still a permanent cut from that full 100% amount.
Okay. But the flip side, waiting past your FRA, that's where things get interesting, right?
That's where you really maximize your own benefit. For every single year you delay claiming past your full retirement age up until you hit age 70, you earn something called delayed retirement credits, DRCs.
Delayed retirement credits, right?
And these credits boost your monthly benefit by 8% for each year you wait.
8% per year. That's pretty substantial.
It is. So delaying from your FRA all the way to age 70, depending on your specific FRA, adds a total of somewhere between 24% and 32% extra onto your monthly benefit for life.
Okay, let's put some numbers on that. Say my FRA is 67 and my benefit at 67, my 100% amount is $2,000 a month.
Okay, good example. So $2,000 at FRA 67. If you claim early at 62, that $2,000 gets reduced to about $1,400 a month.
Wow, that's $600 less every month.
Every single month. But if you wait If you hold off until age 70,
Okay.
with that FRA of 67, waiting until 70 earns you 3 years of those delayed credits.
Right.
8% per year. That's 24% total.
Right.
So your $2,000 benefit at 67, it grows to $2,480 a month if you start at age 70.
$2,480 versus $1,400 at 62. That's a huge difference, over $1,000 a month.
It's a striking difference, isn't it? Over a long retirement, I mean, you're talking potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars more.
Okay, so clearly maximizing your own benefit by delaying, that's a powerful incentive for individuals. But these strategies we're talking about, file and suspend, restricted application, they mostly involve couples, you said.
That's right.
So how do spousal benefits fit into this whole picture?
Spousal benefits are a really key feature, a cornerstone, really, of Social Security for married folks. If you're married, you might be eligible for a benefit based on your living spouse's work record.
Either instead of your own or maybe in addition.
Well, effectively, instead of, if the spousal benefit is higher, Social Security pays the higher amount you're eligible for. But yes, it's based on your spouse's record.
Okay. And what are the requirements to get that spousal benefit?
Generally, you need to be at least age 62. Unless you're caring for a qualifying child of the primary worker, a child under 16 or disabled.
Okay.
And here's a crucial point, especially for the old strategies. For you to collect a spousal benefit based on your spouse's record, your spouse generally needs to be receiving their own retirement or disability benefits. They have to have claimed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The primary worker has to be getting checks for the spouse to get checks based on that record. Makes sense.
Typically, yes.
Yeah.
And how much is that spousal benefit?
Yeah. How's that calculated?
A full spousal benefit is up to 50% half of the primary worker's benefit amount, calculated at their full retirement age, their FRA amount.
Okay, half of their FRA benefit.
Yes, and this is super important, a point of frequent confusion and critical for understanding file and suspend and restricted application. It's based on the primary worker's FRA benefit amount.
Not necessarily what they actually end up receiving.
Exactly. It's not based on any higher amount they might get if they earn those delayed retirement credits by waiting past FRA.
Okay, so using our $2,000 example, the worker whose FRA benefit is $2,000.
Right. The maximum spousal benefit based on their record is $1,000. Half of the $2,000.
Even if that worker delays until 70 and actually gets, what was it, $2,480?
Even then, the spouse's maximum potential benefit is still based on that original $2,000 FRA amount. So it's capped at $1,000.
Got it. Half of the FRA amount, period. And just like your own benefit, if you claim that spousal benefit before your own full retirement age,
It gets reduced permanently. You have to wait until your own full retirement age to get that full 50% of your spouse's FRA amount.
Okay, this is making sense. You've got your own benefit, which can grow a lot if you wait past FRA. And you've got this potential spousal benefit capped at half of your spouse's FRA amount. How did these pieces, plus maybe some law changes, create these specific strategies, these loopholes?
Right. Well, this really comes back to a law passed back in 2000, the Senior Citizens Freedom to Work Act.
Okay, 2000, what did that do?
The main thing it did was get rid of the Social Security earnings test for people who had already reached their full retirement age.
Oh, right. So you could work past FRA and still get your full Social Security check, no penalty.
Exactly. But buried in that act, there was another provision. It allowed people who had reached their FRA and had maybe already started collecting benefits to voluntarily suspend getting those benefits.
Voluntary suspension. Okay. Why would someone want to do that?
Well, the thinking might have been, someone starts benefits at FRA, maybe they get a great job offer, go back to work full time. They could suspend their Social Security checks, maybe earn those delayed retirement credits while they're working again, and then restart their benefit later at a higher amount. It seemed like, reasonable flexibility for an individual.
Okay. Seems fair enough. But it had side effects.
It had an unintended consequence, yeah. When you combined it with that rule we just mentioned, that a spouse could usually only claim benefits after the primary worker had claimed theirs.
Okay, I think I see where this is going. Before this voluntary suspension existed, if the main earner wanted to wait until 70 to get the biggest check possible.
And maximize the future survivor benefit for their spouse, too.
Right, then the other spouse usually just had to wait as well. Couldn't collect anything based on that record.
That was generally the situation. And that is where file and suspend came into play. It was a strategy really designed for married couples where one spouse, usually the higher earner, had reached their full retirement age, but they wanted to keep delaying their own benefit to let it grow until 70.
Okay, so how did file and suspend let them do that? What were the mechanics?
Okay, so the primary worker, the one with the bigger benefit, would file for their retirement benefit upon reaching FRA. But and this is the crucial part, they would immediately ask Social Security to suspend the payments.
File. But suspend. Okay. Why file at all then?
Because the act of filing, even though they weren't getting paid yet, meant they were officially entitled to benefits according to Social Security's rules at the time.
The entitlement was the key.
Yes. That entitlement status then made their spouse and potentially any eligible kids immediately eligible to claim their benefits, the spousal or child benefits, based on the primary worker's record.
Even though the primary wasn't actually getting paid.
Correct. Because the primary worker had immediately suspended their own benefit payment, it wasn't being paid out to them, which meant it continued to grow, earning those 8% per year delayed retirement credits.
Until they turned it back on, presumably at 70.
Usually at age 70, yeah, to get the maximum amount.
Okay, I definitely see the cleverness, let's call it there, or the loophole. The couple could get income flowing now the spousal benefit check starts coming.
Right, some money coming in the door.
While the higher earner's own, much larger benefit was still quietly growing in the background, heading towards that maximum payout at age 70.
Precisely. It was a way to essentially get one benefit stream flowing the spousal or child one, while simultaneously maximizing the other, often more valuable stream, which was the primary worker's own benefit. And remember, maximizing that primary benefit also increases the potential future survivor benefit for the spouse.
Right, that's a critical point too. So it helped the survivor later on as well.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It was really attractive for couples who could manage, living on just the spousal benefit for a few years, or maybe they had other savings while they waited for that bigger check to fully mature.
Okay, that was file and suspend. What about the other one, restricted application? How did that work in this old system?
So restricted application was also mainly for married couples, typically used by one spouse, often the one with a maybe smaller benefit based on their own work history. The main requirement was that this person had to have reached their own full retirement age.
Their own FRA, okay.
And, crucially, they had to be eligible for both a retirement benefit from their own work record and a spousal benefit based on their partner's record.
Both. Got it.
If they met those conditions, they could file what was called a restricted application.
Restricted, what did that mean specifically? What were they restricting?
It meant they could specifically tell Social Security, look, I know I'm eligible for two things here, my own retirement benefit and a spousal benefit, but right now I am applying only for the spousal benefit. They were restricting their claim to just the spousal part.
Okay. Why would they want to do that? Why not just take whichever benefit was higher?
Well, often their own retirement benefit, even at FRA, might have been smaller than the 50% spousal benefit they could get from their partner's record. So by claiming only the spousal benefit, which, remember, is capped at 50% of the partner's FRA amount, they'd start receiving that income right away at their FRA.
Okay, makes sense. Get the bigger check now.
But here's the clever part. Because they restricted their application, they had not officially applied for their own retirement benefit yet.
Oh.
So their own retirement benefit, based on their own work history, just sat there untouched, continuing to grow, earning those 8% delayed retirement credits each year.
Until age 70 then.
Exactly. It kept growing until age 70.
So it's kind of a similar theme to file and suspend, isn't it? Get some benefit income flowing now, in this case, the spouse benefit, while strategically letting another benefit, their own retirement benefit, grow bigger for the future.
That's the core idea, yes. Collect one, grow the other. At age 70, this person would then typically switch. They'd stop the spousal benefit and start claiming their own retirement benefit, which by then would be significantly larger thanks to those 4 or so years of delayed credits they earned between their FRA and 70.
These definitely sound like, well, powerful strategies if you knew about them and qualified. Required some careful navigation of the rules, but the payoff could be substantial for a couple's lifetime income.
Absolutely. It's easy to see why they became popular, especially, as you said, among folks getting financial advice.
But they also needed both spouses to be at or past their FRA to really work without reductions, right?
Generally, yes, to get the full advantage without reductions for claiming any part early. But as these strategies got more publicity, more people started using them, and, well, the perception began to change.
And that leads us right to the turning point, the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015. What was the thinking in Congress? Why did they decide to act?
Well, over time, these strategies, especially file and suspend, started being talked about differently. They were increasingly framed as aggressive claiming strategies or unintended loopholes.
Loopholes.
Yeah, the argument gaining traction was that these tactics sort of exploited consequences of the rules that weren't really intended. Specifically, that the voluntary suspension rule wasn't actually created to let spouses claim benefits, while the main earner just kept racking up delayed credits.
Was there worry about the cost to the Social Security system?
Oh, definitely. Cost was a big part of the conversation. There were estimates flying around.
Yeah.
You saw figures suggesting that if these strategies became really widespread, they could cost Social Security billions. Like one commonly cited number was around $9.5 billion a year.
Wow. That's significant.
It is. Now, there was debate, of course. Was it really a cost, like new spending? Or was it just people accessing benefits they were arguably entitled to anyway, just differently, timing it differently to get more overall?
Right.
And there was also this perception, you saw it in some sources, that maybe these strategies mostly help higher income folks. Though interestingly, some other analyses suggested the biggest percentage boost in lifetime benefits might have actually gone to couples where both partners have pretty similar earnings histories.
Huh. Okay, so maybe not just for the wealthy.
Perhaps not exclusively, but the political narrative often focused on closing perceived loopholes used by sophisticated filers and saving the system money.
Okay, so Congress steps in. The Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015, Section 831, I think it was called, Closure of Unintended Loopholes. Pretty direct.
Very direct.
Yeah.
And it used two main tools, two specific rule changes, to effectively shut down, file, and suspend and restricted application for most people going forward.
Okay, what was the first tool?
The first was taking a concept that already existed in Social Security rules called deemed application. Sometimes you hear deemed filing and expanding it dramatically.
Deemed application. Okay, remind us what that means again.
Deemed application or deemed filing basically means when you apply for one type of Social Security benefit you might be eligible for. Social Security automatically considers you or deems you to have applied for all other benefits you're eligible for at that same time.
Okay, so they just sort of assume you want everything you can get right then and there.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, the old rule, the one in place before 2015, was key here. Deemed filing mostly only applied if you filed for benefits early, before your full retirement age.
Only if you claimed early.
Primarily, yes. So under the old system, if you claimed before your FRA and you happen to be eligible for both your own retirement benefit and a spousal benefit, boom, deemed filing kicked in. You considered to have filed for both, and they'd pay you the higher of the two, but reduced because you claimed early.
Okay. But what if you waited until your FRA or even later under those old rules?
Under the old rules, if you waited until you hit your FRA or were older, deemed filing generally did not apply.
It didn't apply.
No. And that was the magic window. That's what made the restricted application strategy possible.
Because deemed filing wasn't automatic at FRA.
Exactly. Someone eligible for both their own benefit and a spousal benefit could reach FRA and file that restricted application, saying, I only want the spousal benefit now. And Social Security would process it that way because deemed filing didn't force the issue at that age. Their own benefit could just keep growing.
Okay, I see it clearly now. The old rule basically created the opening for restricted application. So the new rule in the 2015 law.
The new rule closed that opening tight. It expanded deemed application massively. Now, it applies to anyone who is eligible for both a retirement benefit on their own work record and a spousal benefit based on their partner's record, no matter how old you are when you file. Age doesn't matter anymore for this.
Wow. Regardless of age. So if I hit my FRA, let's say it's 67, and I'm eligible for my own benefit and also a spousal benefit from my partner, and I go apply just for the spousal benefit.
Nope. Under the new rules, the moment you apply for that spousal benefit, you are automatically deemed to have also applied for your own retirement benefit. Instantly, at the same time.
And Social Security just figures out what I get.
Yes. They'll look at the spousal benefit amount you qualify for. And they'll look at your own retirement benefit amount at that age, which would be your 100% FRA amount, but not yet including any future delayed credits you haven't earned yet, and they will simply pay you whichever amount is higher.
So you lose the choice. You can't say, just pay me the spousal one for now and let my own keep growing.
That choice is gone. If you're eligible for both, when you file, you're deemed to have filed for both, and you get the higher one then and there. You can't strategically ignore your own benefit anymore to let it grow while collecting spousal.
Okay, that is a very clear nail in the coffin for restricted application. Who exactly got hit by this change? Was there any grandfathering? Did anyone escape this?
Yes, there was specific grandfathering. The law stated that this expansion of deemed application only applies to people who reached age 62 in any calendar year after 2015.
Okay, so turning 62 in 2016, 2017 onwards.
Right.
You're under the new rule. No restricted application for you.
Correct. But if you turned 62 in 2015 or earlier...
So born 1953 or earlier.
Exactly. Born 1953 or earlier, you turned 62 before the cutoff date, those individuals were grandfathered. They remained under the old deemed filing rules.
Which means, theoretically, someone born in 1953 could still file a restricted application for just spousal benefits after they hit their FRA?
Technically, yes. If they were born in 53, reached their FRA, they were eligible under the old rules to file that restricted application.
Is that still relevant today? For someone listening in, say, mid-2025, can they still use that grandfathering to let their own benefit grow to 70?
Well, not really for the main purpose we're discussing, using restricted application to collect spousal benefits while your own benefit grows until age 70.
Yeah.
Here's why. The latest birth year that was grandfathered was 1953.
Right.
Someone born in 1953 would have reached their FRA, which is 66 and 10 months, back in 2020. And they would have turned 70 at the very end of 2023.
Ah, so they're already past 70.
Yes, exactly. The strategy involved filing the restricted application around FRA and then switching to their own maximized benefit at age 70. Since everyone in that grandfathered group is now past age 70, the window to actually use that restricted application to let their own benefit grow until 70, that window has closed.
So while the rule might still technically exist for that specific birth cohort?
The practical ability to use it for the grow your own benefit to 70 strategy is gone due to age. And for anyone born in 1954 or later, which is pretty much everyone currently approaching retirement or recently retired restricted application, it's simply off the table because the expanded deemed filing rule applies to them.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Restricted application is effectively history for planning purposes now. So what about file and suspend? How did the 2015 law take care of that one? Was it the same deemed filing change?
No, that was a different mechanism, a separate, very targeted rule change. The law added a brand new subsection to the Social Security Act, Section 202 Chivy, if you want the specifics.
Okay, 202, what did it say?
It laid down a new rule. If an individual chooses to voluntarily suspend their own retirement benefits, then all benefits payable to any other person based on that individual's earnings record will also be suspended for the same period.
Wow. Okay. That sounds like it hits file and suspend directly on the head.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Remember the core idea of file and suspend. The primary earner files and suspends their benefit, which allows the spouse to start collecting their spousal benefit.
Right.
Under this new rule, the moment the primary worker suspends their own benefit, say, to earn delayed credits, poof, the spouse's benefit check stops. Any dependent child benefits based on that record, they stop too. They're all automatically suspended, right along with the primary worker's benefit.
So you literally cannot suspend your benefit anymore and still have your spouse collect their spousal benefit based on your record.
Precisely. That specific strategy, that pathway for couples to get spousal income while the main benefit grew, closed. Shut down by this rule change.
When did this one kick in? Was there a deadline, like with the deemed filing change?
Yes, there was a specific effective date. The law passed November 2nd, 2015. Congress included a 6-month grace period after enactment.
Okay, 6 months.
So that grace period ended around April 30th, 2016. Any new requests to file and suspend made after that date, after April 30th, 2016, would trigger this new rule, meaning the spousal benefits would be suspended too.
What about couples who were already doing it, who had successfully filed and suspended before that deadline? Were they grandfathered? Did the spouse's checks keep coming?
Yes. Thankfully, they were generally grandfathered. If a couple had already properly executed the file and suspend strategy before the end of that grace period, April 30th, 2016, their arrangement was typically allowed to continue under the old rules.
So the spouse kept getting paid, the primary's benefit kept growing?
Right. But no new arrangements like that could be started after the deadline.
Is there any wiggle room here? Any exception where suspending your benefit doesn't suspend someone else's?
Yes, the sources point out one significant exception. Benefits for a divorced spouse, an ex-spouse.
Divorced spouse rules are often different, aren't they?
They are. An eligible divorced spouse might still be able to claim benefits based on their ex's record, even if that ex-spouse has suspended their own benefit payments, say, to earn delayed credits. That's a complexity specific to divorce situations.
Okay. But for a current spouse, the link is now absolute. You suspend yours, theirs gets suspended too.
That's the rule for current spouses, yes.
Does the basic idea of voluntary suspension still exist at all? Can an individual still suspend their benefits?
Yes, the underlying mechanism of voluntary suspension itself wasn't eliminated. It still exists. But its usefulness for couples planning in the file and suspend way is gone.
So who uses it now?
Mostly individuals. Maybe someone claimed their own benefit early, say at 62 or 63. Perhaps they regretted it later, or maybe their job situation changed, they went back to work. If they've now reached their full retirement age or are older, they can still request to voluntarily suspend their own benefit payments. Their checks stop. But the advantage is it allows them to start earning those 8% delayed retirement credits from that point forward, up to age 70.
So they can undo some of the effect of claiming early, boost their benefit amount for later.
Exactly. It lets them increase their benefit for the future. But, and here's the catch we just discussed, if they happen to be married when they do this, suspending their own benefit will also suspend any spousal benefit their current spouse might be receiving based on their record.
Okay, got it. So, wrapping up this part, restricted application, gone for pretty much everyone planning now thanks to that expanded deemed filing rule.
Correct.
File and suspend as a strategy for couples where the spouse collects while the primary's benefit grows. Also gone because suspending the primary's benefit now suspends the auxiliary benefits too.
Also correct. Those two specific strategic doors are effectively closed for most people planning retirement today.
That seems pretty definitive for married couples planning around retirement and spousal benefits.
It is for benefits involving living spouses. However, and this is really, really important, there's a major exception, an area where things work differently.
And this is where I bet a lot of the confusion comes in. We saw some of that in the sources, like that Reddit discussion, people mixing things up.
Exactly. People often confuse spousal benefits based on a living spouse with survivor benefits.
Survivor benefits based on a spouse or ex-spouse who has passed away.
Correct. And the rules for survivor benefits, especially around deemed filing and claiming choices, are significantly different from the rules for spousal benefits.
So those big changes from the 2015 law we just talked about, the expanded deemed filing, the suspension rules?
They generally do not apply to survivor benefits. That's the crucial thing for widows and widowers to understand.
Okay, say that again. The 2015 changes mostly don't hit survivor benefits.
Largely, no. The restrictions placed on retirement and spousal benefits didn't carry over in the same way to survivor benefits.
So this means if you're eligible for both a survivor benefit, based on your deceased spouse or ex-spouse's record, and you're also eligible for a retirement benefit based on your own work, you still have choices about timing.
Yes. You still have flexibility. You potentially can claim one of those benefits first while letting the other one continue to grow and then switch later if it makes sense. The restrictive deemed filing rules that lock retirement and spousal benefits together for living couples generally don't apply between survivor benefits and your own retirement benefit.
Okay, that sounds like a big deal. So what's the strategy that's still available for a widow or widower then?
Well, a common and often very beneficial strategy, assuming the benefit amounts work out right, is for the surviving spouse to claim the survivor benefit first.
Okay. When can they claim that?
You can actually claim a survivor benefit as early as age 60. Now, claiming it that early, before your own full retirement age, will result in a reduction to the survivor benefit amount.
Right, same principle as other benefits.
Yes. If you wait until your own full retirement age to claim the survivor benefit, you'll generally receive the maximum survivor amount you're eligible for, which depends on what the deceased spouse was getting or would have gotten.
Okay, so claim the survivor benefit, maybe starting at 60, maybe waiting till your FRA for the full amount.
Right. And while you are collecting that survivor benefit check each month, here's the key. You strategically don't claim your own retirement benefit yet.
You let your own sit there.
You let your own retirement benefit, based on your work record, continue to grow. It keeps earning those 8% delayed retirement credits every year, all the way up to age 70.
So just like the old strategies in a way, you're getting income from one source, the survivor benefit.
Exactly. And often that income starts years earlier than you might otherwise claim your own benefit. It can be crucial income during what's often a tough time.
While your own potential benefit amount is getting bigger and bigger in the background, maximizing itself.
Precisely. Then, when you hit age 70, you do a comparison. You look at the survivor benefit amount you've been receiving. And you look at what your own retirement benefit is now worth after earning all those delayed credits.
And if your own benefit is now higher...
If your own maximized retirement benefit at 70 is higher than the survivor benefit, you simply switch. You tell Social Security you want to stop the survivor benefit and start your own retirement benefit. and you'll receive that higher amount for the rest of your life.
That is fundamentally different then from the situation for living spouses. For survivors, the ability to claim one benefit type while letting the other one grow is still possible.
It absolutely is. This is the critical nuance that gets lost sometimes and leads to that confusion. People hear claiming strategies are gone, but they don't realize this major exception for survivors exists. While file and suspend and restricted application for living spouses are history.
A widow or widower still has this significant planning flexibility.
Yes. The SSA even uses examples like this. They had one called Jenny in a source, showing she could take a reduced survivor benefit early, let her own grow to 70, and then switch. The key is that deemed filing, the rule that locks things together for living couples, just doesn't apply in the same restrictive way between survivor benefits and your own retirement benefit.
That distinction is huge, incredibly important for widows and widowers making claiming decisions. Okay, so let's try to synthesize this for someone planning their retirement right now. What's the bottom line? The so what for today?
Okay, the absolute key takeaway. Those well-known, sometimes called aggressive strategies, file and suspend, restricted application, that gave married couples unique ways to kind of double dip or sequence benefits. They were effectively shut down by that 2015 Bipartisan Budget Act. For almost everyone planning now, those specific tools are gone.
Because of the changes to deemed filing and the rules around suspending benefits?
Exactly. Those specific avenues are closed.
So, for a married couple looking at retirement today, what does their planning look like without those strategies? What are the considerations now?
Well, the focus really shifts back to the fundamental timing decisions for each individual's benefit and coordinating those claims. Often it involves the spouse with the higher earnings record giving really serious thought to delaying their claim, maybe all the way to 70.
To maximize their own monthly payment.
Right. And also, importantly, to maximize the potential survivor benefit for the other spouse if the higher earner dies first.
Okay. But what's the trade-off now under the current rules?
The trade-off is that while that higher earner is delaying past their FRA to get those bigger checks later, the other spouse generally cannot collect a spousal benefit based on that record during the delay period.
Unless there's a qualifying child, you mentioned that exception.
Right, unless they're caring for a young or disabled child.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no spousal benefit while the primary delays past FRA. So the lower earning spouse has their own decision to make. Do they claim their own benefit early, even if it's smaller? Do they wait until their own FRA or later to claim their own? Or do they wait until the higher earning spouse finally claims, at which point they might then be eligible for a spousal benefit top-up if half the higher earner's FRA amount is more than their own benefit?
It still sounds pretty complex, actually, just different complexities.
It absolutely is. It requires really careful coordination and looking at the couple's whole picture. That flexibility to get sort of free spousal benefits while the main earner delayed, that's gone. Maximizing the higher earner's benefit now usually means the couple forgoes spousal benefits for potentially several years.
So couples really need to weigh their options, income needs now versus bigger benefits later.
Exactly. Their income needs, their health and life expectancy projections, that's huge. Other assets they have, if the higher earner is in poor health, maybe delaying to 70 isn't the best move if they aren't likely to live long enough to collect much,
Right.
especially considering the survivor needs of the other spouse. But if both spouses are healthy and expect a long retirement, maximizing that larger earner's benefit often provides the biggest inflation-protected income stream for as long as either one of them is alive.
And why is understanding all this, the history, the changes, the current rules, why is it so critical for you listening right now?
Because honestly, making the wrong claiming decision, it can cost you tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars over your retirement lifetime. Relying on old information about strategies that vanished almost a decade ago, that's dangerous.
You could make a really bad call.
You can make a claim at the wrong time or miss out on maximizing benefits because you thought an option existed that doesn't. You absolutely need to understand today's rules. Know that the flexibility for living spouses changed dramatically, but also know that the flexibility for survivors is still very real and very important. Timing your own claim, understanding spousal and survivor impacts, coordinating with your partner, it all has to be based on accurate, current information.
Planning using today's rule book, it's really non-negotiable.
It really is. Don't just assume something you heard years ago is still valid. Your best claiming decision depends entirely on your unique situation, finances, health, other income, longevity expectations. It's personal.
Okay, so to wrap it up, Those specific strategies, file and suspend, restricted application, they offered unique advantages, mostly to married couples. They are gone, shut down by the 2015 law. But the core decisions about timing your own benefit claim, still absolutely crucial. Waiting can significantly boost your lifetime income.
Hugely important.
And, critically, the special, more flexible rules that allow survivors to claim one benefit while letting another grow that pathway is still open and a vital part of Social Security planning for widows and widowers today.
The landscape definitely changed, but the need for careful, personalized, informed planning, that's more critical than ever.
So here's a final thought, maybe something for you to chew on. Given how complicated these rules clearly are, and how much money is potentially at stake, have you actually checked your own Social Security statement recently? Do you really know what your estimated benefit would be at your full retirement age? What about at 70?
And have you talked with your spouse about how your decisions impact each other, including potential survivor benefits down the road?
Understanding your specific numbers under today's rules. That might just be the most important next step you can take. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.